NevadaHelpDesk.org comprises of high school and college students who acquire in-demand technology training and certifications to support businesses of all sizes in digital marketing and cloud computing services. Self-paced individualized training is provided by tech giants such as Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Adobe, Apple, Autodesk, EC Council for Cybersecurity, and Intuit for QuickBooks for accounting. Nevada Help Desk hosts an after-school tech program where the work-based learning turns into jobs and freelance opportunities for high school and college students, supporting businesses of all sizes. Students are trained in all of the following digital marketing technologies: web development, search engine optimization, search engine marketing, social media, text blast campaign marketing, content automation, e-commerce marketing, cloud communication technologies, plus digital and video production. Whether students are starting a bakery or launching the next billion-dollar startup, NevadaHelpDesk.org validates a student's understanding of core business principles, including the essentials needed to launch and maintain a successful business. This is offered through our newly adopted entrepreneurship curriculum and certification program. Our students are prepared for college or a career in cybersecurity by validating their knowledge. They will be positioned as a credible job candidate to employers with their industry-recognized credential. We provide the resources to learn, practice, certify and share. NevadaHelpDesk.org offers globally recognized certifications. Certification can increase a student's confidence, build their resume, and validate their knowledge and skills to prepare them for college or a career path. We have joined forces with the world's largest cybersecurity technical certification body, certifying over 200,000 information security professionals globally that have influenced the cybersecurity mindset of countless organizations worldwide. Join a group of highly motivated students who are trained to compete in this diverse economy filled with rapidly growing technological advances. Simply click on the After School Technology Club tab on the homepage menu at NevadaHelpDesk.org. That's NevadaHelpDesk.org.
Woo, hello everyone out there in social media land. I am so excited for today's live broadcast. I tell you, woo, tell your friend, tell your neighbor, tell your family, tell your business partner, your associates, tell everyone that we are now live for National Apprenticeship Week. And I tell you, we are in for a treat today. We have some amazing guests with us that you're going to be hearing from various parts of the nation. That's right. This is a national celebration. So we have people that will be joining us, our business colleagues from all over, from Wyoming to Maine to Texas to all over the place, Illinois to Michigan and Wyoming. You're going to be hearing from them today. So without further ado, I am Dewana Malone, aka the Tech Queen. I'll be moderating today. I serve as the Executive Director for Nevada Help Desk, and it is our pleasure as a national apprenticeship program to host this event for you today with our partners, our United States Department of Labor intermediary SAFAL partners, which is our featured guest for today. And without further ado, I am going to bring to the virtual stage Miss Katie Adams. Katie is Senior Director for SAFAL Partners, the United States Department of Labor National Industry Intermediary contract to expand apprenticeships in cybersecurity and the technology industry. She is a USDOL recognized subject matter expert. That's right, SME, in apprenticeship and workforce development. Previously, Katie provided workforce and marketing, SME, and technical assistance on several United States Department of Labor and National Science Foundation contracts and grants over 11 years, advancing adults and youth apprenticeships while building industry-aligned academic, certificate, and degree-linked programs to meet critical occupational needs across several sectors. Katie has written and implemented over 50 million, not thousand, $50 million in contracts, federal and grant proposals focused on apprenticeship, work-based learning, and workforce development. Katie began her career at Fannie Mae, the world's largest non-bank financial services, where she last served as Director of Regional Communications. Katie is a graduate of the College of William and Mary and resides outside of Washington, D.C. It gives me a great pleasure to bring to the virtual stage my friend, my colleague, one of our biggest supporters here at Nevada Help Desk, Miss Katie Adams. How you doing today, Katie?
I'm well. I'm well. Joanna, I look forward to meeting that person you just introduced. She sounds very impressive.
Oh, we
Thank
love
you.
to get her to the max.
Thank you. It is such a pleasure to be here. You know, this is today marks the end of National Apprenticeship Week, and I can't think of a better way of wrapping up a week's worth of activities than spending some just great focused time with you and your colleagues and with this fantastic set of presenters that you put together to talk about apprenticeship and to really break it down into its meaningful components to get more people involved. This is just a phenomenal way of getting more people back into work, back onto great paying career pathways. And we need more people like Nevada Help Desk to get out there and be doing their part to advance apprenticeship. So thank you for having us.
Well, we are so grateful that you are here. And I tell you, I'm excited about today's program because I know that the information that's going to be shared is going to be so impactful for businesses, job seekers, learners, all of the above. And I'm excited about the next hour and 28 minutes. So, without further ado, I am going to go ahead. I know that this time is dedicated for you to share a presentation on basically why we are here, which is apprenticeships. I know that we have a formal PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to be pulling up here in just a moment. And I know that those that are joined with us on social media, we're giving them an opportunity to, of course, share that we are live. And I want to give the hashtag, which is, of course, tag NAW2021. That's NAW2021. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and actually pull up the PowerPoint that I know we have ready for us today and let you go through and explain. Before we bring on our segment of guests today, I would like for you to go ahead and just share a little bit about what is an apprenticeship and actually what is, we're going to say what is an apprenticeship as well as what our employers and everyone that's connected to us today can expect from the apprenticeship program. So without further ado, I'll let you talk for a few minutes first. Just let them know what they're going to expect today, and then I'll pull up that PowerPoint.
That sounds great. And Donna, I don't know if you want to share with folks how they can ask questions, if there's a place in a chat where they can engage. Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you. There is a way to actually engage from social media. And wow, there's so many different links. We're literally simulcasting from our Facebook, Nevada Help Desk website, social media, facebook.com/Nevada Help Desk, as well as LinkedIn. And that is the Tech Queen, LinkedIn/the Tech Queen, as well as YouTube. And we'll put that link in the chat as well on our YouTube channel and Twitter and the apprenticeship.gov by United States Department of Labor is also rebroadcasting the stream. So there's a lot going on today.
There's a lot happening. Well, and I know, we definitely want folks to ask questions. SAFAL Partners is a U.S. Department of Labor National Industry Intermediary. And really, that's just a big title for the kind of work that we're doing today, which is essentially we've been tasked by the Department of Labor to get out on the ground and help just unpack apprenticeship for employers in particular, to help employers understand the benefit of apprenticeship, and quite frankly, to help make it easier for employers to start or expand apprenticeship programs. We recognize that employers are extremely busy. Either you have businesses to run, you have HR issues to handle, you've had a pandemic to completely reorient your business around over the last 18 months. And so a lot of times it's difficult for employers to pick up the thread and teach themselves about apprenticeship, much less start something on their own. So that's really what we exist for as a national industry intermediary, is we exist to help employers basically we are there to remove any potential barrier to apprenticeship that an employer may face. And we do that working directly with State Department of Labor Office of Apprenticeship staff and state apprenticeship agency staff. So we're here to make it easier for both our federal and state partners as well as our employer partners, because we know that apprenticeship is really the gold standard of workforce development.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And without further ado, we are going to go into the presentation today, spend a little bit of time on the apprenticeship, and I'll be your clicker today.
All right. Fantastic. So like I said, so we, SAFAL Partners, we're here with our fantastic partner, Nevada Help Desk, as part of the National Apprenticeship Week. And this is really just meant to be a very quick and easy breakdown of what apprenticeship is, so that our employer partners and our future employer partners would walk away with a solid understanding of what it is and how we can help. Next slide. So real quick, what do these have in common? If I were to ask most people what these companies have in common, they may say, well, they seem like they're all technology companies. And that's true. They are all technology-rooted companies. The truth is that none of these companies existed 15 years ago. These companies have all been created and exploded onto the scene within the last 15, in some cases, just last 10 years. And some of them, like DoorDash and Zoom, have really taken over our life in the last 18 months, particularly. But the reason that I bring that up is because it's important to understand how quickly our workplaces are changing and how quickly the competencies and education and training that our workers need is changing as well. Next slide. The truth is that the half-life of most skills is 5 years. That means that once a skill is learned, that within 5 years, it has almost become dated, especially in the technology realm. And the implication for that is that we need to think about, and increasingly you're seeing people talking about shifting from just a K-12 education mindset to really lifelong learning. If you add on top of that, that we have a shrinking labor pool, right? The current economy was based on, and most companies that are in existence today were based on that post-World War II concept of labor is cheap and plentiful. And the reality is that is not the case today, and it's not going to be for a long time. The reality is that we have a larger number of baby boomers retiring a little bit more quickly than expected in some cases because of COVID. And we have a smaller incoming talent pool to replace them. And at the same time, the number of people who are actually eligible, age eligible to work, is shrinking as well. That means some people, for various reasons, are choosing to not participate in the labor market. So the implication of that is that employers are going to have to be thinking about creating career pathways, not just offering jobs. They're going to need to become that employer of choice. And they're going to need to recognize that because skills have a shorter half-life, that they need to really get involved in training their folks. And lastly, we've seen, especially over the last 18 to 20 months, how rapidly technology, automation, and even artificial intelligence is evolving. And the reality of what that means is that employers are increasingly going to need to build, not buy their talent. Technology is changing so quickly that employers can't rely on a traditional public or private educational system to teach their workers everything they need within their high school and post-secondary education. They can't rely on them to teach everything that they need for the rest of their career. Technology is changing too quickly. And so employers are going to have to get into the training business. Next slide. At SAFAL Partners, as I said, we are a U.S. Department of Labor National Industry Intermediary, and we have had the very good fortune as a result of our partnership with Anthem, who I know you're going to be hearing from shortly, to have teamed up with Nevada Help Desk to make apprenticeship an accessible and easy to understand concept for employer partners. Next slide. So let's talk about it. What is apprenticeship? A lot of us are hearing this word increasingly, but what is it? Well, it is an industry-driven, high-quality career pathway. And it enables employers to both develop new hires coming into their organization, as well as a way of upskilling their current workers to meet those critical occupational roles that they have. Next slide. So let's break it down. What does it really look like? The first thing I think that's important to know is that apprenticeship is industry driven. That means that you as an employer own your apprenticeship program. This is not something that the government gives you. This is not something that that you have to sort of sign on the dotted line to something that you didn't have a hand in creating. This is industry driven. You own this. And as an industry driven program, what it means is that you're going to provide paid on the job training for workers whom you select. You create the qualifications for your program. If you require someone to have only a high school a diploma or a GED, that's great. If you require someone to have some post-secondary education or even a college degree, that's fine as well. Whatever qualifications you pick for that apprenticeship program, that's the basis upon which you get to decide who you're going to hire as new employees or register as current workers into your program. And you're going to pay those folks to be doing work on the job as part of their training program. And I'll talk a little bit in just a little bit about the wage rates and how that helps offset some of the costs that you may incur in implementing your apprenticeship program. You're also going to provide related instruction. Now, what is that? A lot of folks understand this concept of on-the-job training, but this related instruction is something very new to them. And the reality is that apprenticeship works because it makes sure that workers don't just understand the what to do on the job, but the why to do. So each apprentice is required to complete approximately a minimum of 144 hours. That's contact hours, not academic credit hours. So they're going to complete a minimum of about 144 hours of related instruction annually. Those courses are going to be selected by the employer as part of their program. And those courses are going to directly complement the type of work that they're doing on the job. In addition, and it's important to understand that that related instruction can be sourced in a bunch of different ways. And we're proud to say that in Nevada, Nevada Help Desk has the ability to deliver very high quality, industry aligned training for that related instruction component. Next, a wage progression. And you may wonder, what exactly does that mean? It means that basically an apprentice is typically brought on at anywhere between 40 to 70% of the typical wage rate for that occupation. So say, for example, you're bringing on someone in an IT help desk or an IT generalist apprenticeship program. You're recognizing that they still need some on-the-job training, and they're going to take some courses so that over the course of that program, they become a fully credentialed, fully experienced professional in that occupation. Because you're providing the training, you're going to start them out at a lower rate. Like I said, anywhere between 40 and typically 70% of the average pay rate for that position. Now, because you're starting folks out at a lower wage rate, you're going to want to give them the incentive to do that hard work and to complete that related instruction so that they successfully complete their program. So that means that you're going to offer at least one and as many as in a series of wage progressions as you would want over the course of the program. And again, those wage progressions are determined by you, the employer. When an apprentice completes their program, they earn at least one, if not multiple credentials, including one from the U.S. Department of Labor, and typically a few, depending on the occupation, they may earn or be qualified to sit for exams to earn several additional portable national credentials, signifying that they are a fully certified, experienced, and competent professional for that occupation. Next slide. Thanks, Donna. So, as a U.S. Department of Labor National Industry Intermediary, SAFAL Partners in our work with Nevada Help Desk is focused on expanding apprenticeship for cybersecurity and tech occupations. But the good news is that apprenticeship spans all sectors and virtually all potential occupational types. So any employer watching this broadcast that may be interested in learning how they could take advantage of apprenticeship to build a stronger, more diverse and skilled workforce in, say, for example, healthcare, financial services, hospitality, or telecommunications, there are resources out there that we can help you connect with to get additional technical assistance, program support, and resources to build your program. Next slide. In case you're wondering if apprenticeship has gone mainstream, the great news is yes. In fact, companies that are very, very familiar to most of us these days are increasingly using a registered apprenticeship for the reasons I'm going to go into next. So companies like Tesla, Microsoft, Lockheed Martin, and our very, very important small and mid-sized businesses, they're all using registered apprenticeship as a way of building a more diverse, more skilled, and stronger talent pipeline. Next slide. All right, so let's get down to brass tacks. What are the benefits of apprenticeship? If you're an employer, you need to know that apprenticeship is something that is going to build your bottom line, just like every other decision you make in building your business or running your organization. So let's talk about it. Let's get down to brass tacks. There are several reasons that there are several ways that apprenticeship benefits employers. The first is it sets you apart as an employer of choice. And we're going to look at a slide in a moment that talks about just how important training is when it comes to becoming a preferred employer. It also gives you the ability to recruit and retain specific underrepresented populations by accessing different types of federal and state benefits. For example, with a registered apprenticeship program that qualifies to be GI Bill eligible, you are able to recruit veterans by offering them the ability to use their GI Bill benefits while they're in your program. That means that they could be able to access their military housing allowance from day one. That's a big difference. That could mean up to a couple $1,000s more a month, tax-free, in those apprentices' pockets while they're completing their apprenticeship program, in addition to whatever other GI Bill benefits they may choose to use. The second is positive ROI. On average, employers with registered apprenticeship programs have reported earning back approximately $1.47 for every dollar that they invest in their apprenticeship program. In other words, this is a moneymaker. You're investing in your human capital. You're building a stronger, more loyal workforce that's going to translate into a positive return on your investment. Diversifying your workforce is a third really important benefit of apprenticeship. The fact of the matter is, too many organizations have relied on requiring a 4-year degree for virtually every occupation across the board, whether or not they've actually taken the time to examine if that degree ensures that the worker may have the skills that are needed. Because not a majority of Americans have a 4-year college degree, by requiring that and by not having a training program in place, employers are unwittingly closing off the majority of their positions to a majority of Americans. Apprenticeship enables employers to cast a wider net, and that's never been more important than the economy that we find ourselves in now and for the foreseeable future with a smaller labor pool. Quite frankly, you can't afford to keep fishing from the same pool. We're going to need to go wider, and that's what apprenticeship allows you to do. The last two benefits are apprenticeship enables you to access funds, including from federal and state sources, and it also gives you a scalable, stackable plan for reskilling and upskilling your current workers, so that when technology changes or things like a pandemic or some kind of unforeseen business environment comes about, you're ready. Next slide. As I mentioned, a recent Gallup poll found that 70% of all those Americans surveyed said that they would switch jobs immediately if they had the opportunity to take a job for an employer with the same occupation but who offered training. That should be a big opportunity that employers should realize to become an employer of choice by offering an apprenticeship program. Next slide. So we're going to just talk briefly about these last few slides here as we get ready to go to our next panelists. We do offer, we work closely with the Nevada Help Desk to make our National Registered Apprenticeship Program available for any employer. And our national program is a competency-based program that employers can join today. They can customize to meet their own needs, and we serve 8 tech occupations that are listed here. Next slide. We provide the program sponsorship. That means you do not need to go through the application process. We're already approved by the U.S. Department of Labor. We provide you with technical assistance to help market and implement the program. We provide you with ongoing program support. And we can also provide you with supplemental remote mentoring if you choose the cybersecurity track for apprenticeship. Next slide. What you provide is the paid work. You're going to bring on new hires that you choose according to your qualifications for the program, and or bring in your incumbent workers. And then you're also going to provide a supervisor, a point of contact or mentor for that apprentice, just as everyone has on the job. Next slide. It's been my pleasure to share with you the work that we've done with Nevada Help Desk. We would love to make apprenticeship more accessible to more employers, to be able to take advantage of all the benefits that we have to offer at no cost, absolutely no cost to you, and to take advantage of the amazing training that Nevada Help Desk offers. Thank you, Dwana.
You were absolutely fabulous. Thank you, Katie, for that presentation. Was just awesome. I pray that businesses are adhering to your call. We put a link in the chat for anyone that wants to inquire or express interest. And so we'll be doing that throughout the broadcast today. So thank you once again, Katie, for just a wealth of information and your vote of confidence in this continued partnership with Nevada Help Desk. Without further ado, oh my goodness, wow, we have an exciting panel that's coming up today and some people that are dear to my heart right here locally. Before we go to the national stage, we're going to start here at home first with a couple of individuals. As I bring them on the screen, we will go ahead and share a little bit about who you will be hearing from next. So, Mr. Ken Evans is a competent, solutions-oriented, and versatile individual who has over 35 years of varied technical, managerial, and leadership experience. He's skilled in all aspects of planning, project development, and his expertise includes procurement, underwriting, construction, budget, organization, personnel management, operations, scheduling, maintenance, and environmental compliance. Ken recently served as the commander for the United States Air Force engineering organizations in both Iraq and Afghanistan, supervising and managing 150 to 200 personnel at any given time. As the commander in Iraq, he was responsible for $35 million in planning, development, O&M activities, while in Afghanistan, his responsibilities included overseeing 54 sites and managing 64 million in master planning, site development, construction, and project management. Without further ado, please help me give a warm round of applause to our virtual guest and president of the United States, Urban Chamber Commerce, Urban Chamber of Commerce, right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hi, Ken. How are you doing today? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dwana, and good afternoon to everyone that's out there. I'm doing very well, and I feel like Katie did as you were reading that bio. I'm like, wow, who's that? And,
Well,
yeah,
go ahead.
at any rate, it's a pleasure to be here. And yes, I am a veteran, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, and those skills lend themselves well to doing what I do here at the Urban Chamber. And specifically, I'm so glad that our chamber is able to host the IT Roundtable and participate and support efforts like this, because I think long term, this is the way to go to ensure we have a pipeline for our future.
All right, absolutely. That is wonderful. And I'm going to bring on one more local guest who's going to be a part of this featured time. And I just captured everyone's bio from LinkedIn. So if I jack anything up, just know that I took it right from LinkedIn. And so whatever you have on LinkedIn, that's what we're talking about today. And so our next guest is the Director of Youth Development and Social Innovation for the city of Las Vegas. And she is an experienced assistant superintendent with a passion for serving youth with the greatest needs. She is skilled, and I'm a witness to that. She is skilled in management, teaching, leadership, project management, customer service, and team building. Strong operations with a doctor of education. And she is focused in educational leadership and administration, a general from Nova Southeastern University. And it brings me great pleasure to introduce to our national stage my friend, our colleague, our community partner, none other than Dr. Tammy Malik. Hi. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
Welcome to the national stage. Well, we have for this segment, you all are going to be really talking about and engaging businesses and talking about, as we celebrate the National Apprenticeship Week, the importance for businesses. Ken, I'm going to have you speak to the businesses. And then Dr. Tammy, just come from the heart, the importance of youth ages 16 and up. And whichever one of you want to dive in first as we celebrate this national occasion, both for businesses. And Dr. Tammy, I'll have you speak from the youth perspective for age 16 and up, because for those who may not know, apprenticeships actually start at age 16. So correct me if I'm wrong. That's still considered youth, right, Dr. Tammy?
Yes, ma'am.
My mom wouldn't have said that when I was, 16 years old. She called me a little mama at 16, but we say, no, you're still considered youth at that age, right?
And our youth think they're grown at 16,
Right.
but we know they're not. One of the things I think is really important is helping our youth see where they might fit. I've always had the privilege of working at jobs I love doing. And, you know, the old overused adage, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I think there's a lot of truth to that. And I know a lot of people who invested a lot of time, energy, and money in going to college and earning a 4-year degree and got into the job market and didn't like what they did, but felt, quite frankly, like they had no other option because they'd already made a commitment. And I think our youth have a different, this generation has a different lean on that. They feel like they can be fluid, they can change their minds, they can dip and dab in different things, and that's okay. And so with that, I think we have a duty and obligation to help them explore what's out there. For those that college is a great track, wonderful, but that isn't the only track. And there are other ways to create a pathway for success and job skills without incurring student loan debt, if that's a better fit for you. We know that the construction trades have been capitalizing on an apprenticeship model for decades. And so it makes sense for other industries to do the same. A couple things that our previous speaker mentioned that I think are so true is we have to grow our own. We can no longer count on colleges and universities to put out enough of a workforce in any of the industries. And we know that our workforces are aging out in many of our job markets. And if we don't create a grow your own model, then shame on us. The other thing that I think is critical is this whole idea of personalization. And I know that Dr. Malone and Ken Evans have a lot of experience in helping our local businesses with support. Dr. Malone on the youth talent pool and Ken on the business model front in helping connect those two. I think that we need to meet the needs of our businesses through personalized training programs, and apprenticeships and stackable credentials allow us to do that. And so I think that is important. And then I'm an educator at heart, as Dewana mentioned. I'm a 30-year retiree from the Clark County School District, retired as an assistant superintendent and started my career with the city 2 years ago. So lifelong learning is a personal belief and passion for me. And I think we have here on the local front, we've capitalized on the pandemic to bring some positive out of the madness, right? And one of the positives we have found is how do we lock arms better, braid funding, and create a community-wide approach to the result of the pandemic. And now that we're kind of, I hope and pray, coming out of this, or I know we keep saying that, the future, we've all committed to not go back to our old ways and work in silos, to continue to lock arms, braid funding, ensure that we have adequate coverage, we don't leave gaps, we don't oversaturate. And we can only do that if we're partnering, if we're sharing, if we're communicating. And so I think it's really important to start our youth young. We all, I know Dr. Malone and Ken Evans for sure, we all believe in continuing education through high school. That's a non-negotiable. You've got to have that high school diploma or high school equivalency. But then what? And the pandemic has resulted in a lot of our youth needing to help provide for their families, with parents out of work and no longer skillable in their own minds, if you will. A lot of our youth are forced into that. So we try to be that bridge with keeping them focused and finishing that high school diploma, but giving them some appetite for the light at the end of the tunnel and a job market that they may love, that they know that people in my generation can't even wrap their mind around because those jobs didn't exist. And so that's one way that we have on the local front, I think, work together collaboratively to do that. And those are things that I'm very passionate about. And I appreciate the partnerships and working with the folks here and even beyond here on how do we train youth better and how do we build up skills for unemployed and underemployed to get them into a high demand, livable wage job. And we can only do that together. So I'll be quiet and let Ken talk.
That was awesome. Thank you,
It's all-
Dr. Tammy, for that wonderful insight and engagement. And I see here that you have some comments here from our Facebook audience, and we want to encourage others to respond and others to go ahead and really engage and be a part of this interactive dialogue. So as you said, we're going to turn the virtual microphone over to Mr. Ken Evans to share your intake and your insight on businesses.
Absolutely. Thanks again. As was already mentioned, part of it is getting students ready and creating opportunities for young people and young adults. Within our IT roundtable, one of the things we figured out is that as an urban chamber and a chamber of commerce, typically our focus is on educating, advocating, and positioning our members for procurement opportunities. But again, we also realize that if we want to have business around for decades to come, we also need to focus on the workforce component. But at the same time, if you're a small business, and in our chamber, we have a whole lot of small businesses, one of the concerns we have is what happens when you hire someone that has limited skills or no skills, or they're not familiar with your industry? Well, from our standpoint, apprenticeships, especially IT apprenticeships for our IT roundtable, that's a perfect way for us to move forward with getting a skilled and educated and trained and credentialed workforce in the not too distant future, but then at the same time, making sure that they'll be prepared for the long run. And then a subset of them may actually decide to become business owners and entrepreneurs themselves. So again, we're glad to be able to participate and hopefully encourage other businesses within our chamber and beyond to participate as well with apprenticeship opportunities, because at the end of the day, it meets a workforce development need, but does it in a manner that is responsible and sensitive to the needs of business.
All right. I'm so tempted to say amen every time I hear you guys say something that is just so profound. And I tell you, it looks like we're getting some feedback from our social media audience. They're saying yes for apprenticeships and leapfrogging for youth. So that is awesome. And so we want to take questions or comments from our audience as we get ready to digress over to our national segment. But I want to see if Katie or Dr. Tammy or Ken, if there's any further expounding for the next minute or so that you all would like to do on either youth and or businesses as we prepare to transition to the national segment.
Very quickly, I'll just speak up and say, please, if you're a small business, let's say you have 1 to 5 people and you know you need to grow, you know you need to expand, and you need additional help, don't rule out apprenticeships. Don't think to yourself, well, we can't afford it. I can tell you personally that we've had some innovative programs through our local Workforce Connections board. In addition to that, through local U.S. Department of Labor affiliates. And now I'm happy to see that we've got another brand new partnership through Nevada Help Desk that we can leverage to create some opportunities. So again, what I would say is if you're a smaller business, do not rule out apprenticeships as a way to grow and scale your business while providing you with some additional capacity in order to do business, compete, and succeed.
And to add to what Ken said, I think especially in those non-traditional apprenticeship fields, we tend to think apprenticeship kind of in an old school way sometimes. So not just for our small businesses, but also for our medium and large businesses in areas that we know that the career pool is going to be depleted or already is, and they're high demand careers in the future. For us on the local front, like many of you, healthcare, advanced manufacturing, and technology, those are trades of the future. They're not going away. We're going to continue to need those. Advanced manufacturing is opening their doors everywhere. And this pandemic has changed the way we will behave forever in some regard. I think this virtual restaurateur concept, this working from another state or country even, I think some of this is going to continue. And with that, greater need for advanced manufacturing. Healthcare, we know the older we get, the more we need healthcare, right? And so technology is the future. Dewana and her young people know that, but hopefully everyone else understands that as well. So in those three industries specifically, I know that we are working really hard here in the state of Nevada to look at how we capitalize on apprenticeships and certified apprenticeships to get a pathway for paid internships for our youth, to help our businesses to create a trained job force in high demand areas of the future. And sometimes those are industries that don't think of apprenticeships as a pathway for them. And so I would challenge you to think differently about the old traditional model of apprenticeships. Think of all the reasons that they have been successful in those construction type trades, and how can that be leveraged in other job industries? Because as I think our initial speaker mentioned, there's no college or university that can fully prepare a person, and most employers are looking for, if they're looking for a college degree, they're looking for both a college degree and some experience, and most of our college grads don't have both. So how do you leverage that to create that trained workforce kind of on your terms, employer? Reach out to your local chambers, reach out to your workforce boards, see what's available. They can't always just come and to you all the time. They're out there doing the work in the trenches. So reach out and look for those individuals in each of your cities and states so that you can use those services. And if they don't exist, push them to get to that point. I know here in Nevada, I don't want to speak for Dr. Malone and Ken, but I will. I know we're happy to share the secret sauce. If we can help another city or state by sharing our knowledge, we are not above that, because you might have a great idea to share with us too. We'll pay it forward and get it back. So I would just challenge you to do that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tammy and Ken Evans. And Katie, do you have any final closing comments on this segment before we transition to national?
Yeah, I just, I want to agree. I want to echo the words of my colleagues here. But if I could get, when I can get an employer one-on-one, what I say to them is, I know what keeps you up at night is making sure that you have a profitable business. You want to make sure that your organization is profitable, your organization is well run, and there's no greater investment that you can make for your organization to be profitable and well run than a human capital investment. And to Ken's point, there are an enormous number of resources that can be brought around employers to support them in this apprenticeship ecosystem. I tell employers, the only number that you need for an apprenticeship program is one. You just need one. And I know that the workforce system in Nevada, that training providers such as yourself, Dr. Malone, that the state agencies and city agencies are there, as well as intermediaries such as ourselves are there to support and make apprenticeship doable. And once employers get a taste of it and they see that it's really a structured way for them to build the workforce they've always wanted, they're hooked. They're hooked. And again, it's a positive return on your investment. So we are all here collectively to support employers in making that happen.
All righty. Well, thank you to our guests. I cannot wait to continue the dialogue. And again, conversion, if it does not convert, it does not work. So we are opportunities today for businesses to sign up. I put the link in the chat and I will do it again for those who want to sign up today. You can sign up, and for students who want to sign up, all you have to do is text NVHD to 702-919-4357. We'll be continuing that throughout today as we celebrate National Apprenticeship Week. Thank you, Ken Evans. Thank you, Dr. Tammy, for our local leadership and presence here from Las Vegas. All righty. So without further ado, That was so rich. I am so excited about today. And wow, we just heard from local Las Vegas, Nevada. We're about to go national right now. And I am just so excited. Katie, we're going to be bringing on our extended family. I think we should call them extended family. I know that we have a gentleman, wow, by the name of, let me do him justice and give the title here, and we're going to share just a little bit about the next person that we are going to bring to the stage, that you will know just a little bit about who this next person is that I'm going to bring to the stage. This gentleman's name is Monty Green, and he serves as the program manager of the Anthem IT apprenticeship program in Atlanta. And he's going to be joined by Justin Muller, who is the Medicaid supplier diversity subject matter expert. So we have Monty from Atlanta, and we have Justin from New York City that we will be bringing to the virtual stage. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon. It is so great to see both of you. How are each and every one of you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Miss Dewana?
I am doing wonderful. All is well and in perfect order. And how about you, Justin?
Fantastic, Dawn. Even better now that I'm online here.
Who would have thought once we met that we're going national on the week of the National Apprenticeship Week celebration? Who would have thought we're now broadcasting live to a national audience from New York, Atlanta, and of course, SAFAL Partners is headquartered in Texas. So we're going to start this segment with you all. Is going to be about really discussing the value of apprenticeship program for businesses and job seekers and learners, to discuss the importance of apprenticeship no matter what size the business is. So whichever one of you want to jump in and elaborate to hopefully inspire and encourage those businesses and employers that are listening, because as I understand it, this broadcast is supposed to go all throughout social media. I know that the United States Department of Labor apprenticeship.gov site are rebroadcasting those through the hashtag NAW2021. So whichever of you want to go ahead and start.
Well, I will. I'll take the mic and just really talk about this from that standpoint of value. As you mentioned, I'm the program manager, and that's a title that I have. But in my real role that I play every day, I am one of the initial founders, if you will, working with the Anthem partnership that brought the apprenticeship program to bear. So I've gone through the trenches of developing all the things that get you to become a registered apprenticeship partner. I have, been that guy out in the streets that were recruiting our young people to give them this wonderful opportunity. And I now work with them literally every day as their direct manager, as their coach, as their mentor, as that expert who is there with them daily to really teach them the things that they need to know. And so when I look at what we have developed and the value of apprenticeships, I will tell you that, it's something that is near and dear to my heart. I am a 25 plus year executive from large corporations that always had challenges around finding skilled talent to fill awesome opportunities. And so when I caught myself retiring from that role some years ago, I found myself really, in a position that I wanted to, fix this, this issue I thought we had with the disconnect between our young folks that are out there, as I was mentioned in our earlier speaker, that are looking for, opportunity in the market, and our organizations, even like ours, that are sourcing for talent. And quite frankly, what I experienced was the two did not meet. They don't know each other. They don't know how to engage with each other. They didn't even know how to find each other. And so, part of the thing that we have developed, really was our journey, if you will, figuring all of those things out. And it was really about partnership. It was really about, finding ourselves, working with, uh, Miss Katie and SAFAL partners, and, our wonderful partners that we have with the Goodwill of North Georgia. And, now working with our wonderful new partner we'll have with Nevada Help Desk, and bringing those partnerships together to really form the perfect ecosystem that's going to be necessary to really touch our people and our young people in their lives in a holistic way. And so when you look at it from that standpoint as an employer, the value really becomes that I heard some of the things earlier when you think about things like, creating a diversified talent pool. Well, it doesn't get any better than that when you can create that because you're in control. And so you decide where you're going to reach into what populations. And we did that. We have intentionality around where we look to source our talent. And so we look at those 9 to 12 million young people out here in our country today that did not choose to go the traditional route of getting a 4-year college degree for whatever their reasons are, right? And giving them the opportunity to see, opportunities like this from an IT apprenticeship perspective. It is also about this opportunity to create the right talent pool that you need in your organization, in your company, right? And so we're building our talent from within, if you will, because we're identifying and targeting them. We're training and teaching them, as it was mentioned, I think, in Katie's presentation, where we are developing the curriculum that we need them to focus on. We're doing that based on the needs we have internally. So to think of your organization and what you're building toward. Is that security? Is that cyber? Is that AI? Whatever it might be, you have the ability to design your program and curriculum to address and meet that need. And then, finally, I would just say, in terms of just the initial comment around that question, it's really about being part of the community that you're part of. So when I mentioned those wonderful partners, certainly we're a part of that community. In addition, we are where we find ourselves in the community that we want to be part of and serve. And so those young, wonderful young people that we go out and meet and touch and talk with and engage with, we find from them the opportunity to bring in innovative talent, uh, talent that is looking at dreams that they have and how we can engage together now and make those dreams a reality. And so not only do this from a, goodwill perspective, no pun intended, but also look at it from the standpoint of good investment and return on investment. And so at the end of the day, if we do these things right, and we certainly believe we have, and we're certainly experiencing a very positive, enriched experience with our program, we found that it was the right choice for us. We started as a registered apprenticeship partner way back in the end of 2018. And now here we are coming up on the end of 2021. And we still have all of our young people that started the journey with us. They're still with us. And so it's just a remarkable, opportunity to see the development of their skill sets, and their contribution to the organization, and our ability to grow together, on a journey that I know that's just going to continue to bear fruit. And so it's been a great opportunity for us in terms of that value.
Thank you, Monty, for those wonderful comments. And you're blowing up social media over there. You're getting them excited out there in social media land. And so we want to also hear from Justin, again, who serves as the Medicaid supplier diversity subject matter expert. I love that we have all these SMEs on the line with us today to really share some wisdom and intelligence as we celebrate this National Apprenticeship Week. So Justin, the virtual mic is all yours. We've had some offline wonderful dialogue, and the synergy between this excitement of what is to come for our nation is just explosive and contagious. So what do you have for our audience today, Justin?
Yes, it is. Thanks, Dwana. I'm really excited to be here. And, the title is really vague, right? Medicaid Supplier Diversity Subject Matter Expert at Anthem. But what does that mean? So I'll say at Anthem, we recognize the importance of diversity and are committed to being a valuable member of the communities in which we live and operate. Our supplier diversity program is focused on identifying, building relationships with, and truly partnering with high-performing, diverse suppliers, which is an important part of that commitment, as well as a focus and a passion of mine. And a lot of folks are probably wondering, how does this tie into apprenticeship? There's quite a few questions. Well, think of it as building, as Monty said, and as folks are going into, building your own internal talent pipeline, right? We do it here at Anthem, our suppliers do it as well. And, we are dedicated to supporting them in any way possible.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that feedback. And I tell you, we said we were going to give the audience an opportunity to ask questions, but I want to see first if Katie would like to respond to both Monty and Justin. Any feedback on what they've shared? Katie.
Yeah, the first thing I would like to point out is I think Monty has not done himself or Anthem enough credit really in what they've built. I'd like to recognize that Anthem, they didn't just decide to take on becoming a registered apprenticeship program sponsor for their own company to look at how can we provide some paid training opportunities that are going to help us create a more diverse and skilled workforce. They went the extra mile and said, we want to make this form of workforce training work for a significantly historically underrepresented marginalized group, which is youth aging out of foster care. And the great thing about apprenticeship is it's employer driven. So an employer can decide what occupations they're going to use it for, what types of targeted populations they're going to be using it for, who they're going to partner with for training, et cetera. And I just want to recognize the enormous work that Anthem has done in creating a program that doesn't just provide a paid career pathway, but also, and I think this is important for employers to know, they have created a model for working with their local partners in Atlanta to also make sure that their apprentices have access to a wealth of resources, including supportive services that are going to help them persist and successfully complete their program. And yes, by the way, they managed to maintain all of this during a global pandemic. So, Anthem, I told one of the gals that was really pivotal in building the program, I said, not only did you jump into the deep end of the apprenticeship pool, you jumped in fully clothed and you said, we're going to take it on. And you built a model program. You've provided enormous opportunities. And I think, Monty, you would agree that this is something that you've seen, this works well. This works well for Anthem.
Absolutely. And, we know how we are around here. We don't like to toot our own horn, but, we do the work every day, the hard work, but it has worked well. I think that we were intentional in, not only trying to target a population that most employers would probably say would not be their first choice. And we did that because we wanted to show, and we thought as we did this initially, that, we can't look at, what's the old adage, you can't judge a book by its cover. And so we wanted to be real about that, right? And so we tried this out in a pilot initially. And what we found was initial quick success. And so as we continued with the programming, your what you mentioned in terms of the, the full wraparound supports that was necessary to address a lot of those social determinants of health that we all deal with as employers. Whether you do it through your EAP programs or other parts of your HR systems, the reality is when you deal with your absentee rate isms or individuals leaving your organization and you quite can't put your finger on why they did, many times it's because they were addressing and dealing with outside issues that they simply did not want to bring to work. And so what we tried to consider in the model was, especially because we were dealing with the population that we decided to at the time, that it was going to be important to be holistic about the design of the model of the apprenticeship program. And what we've gotten in return is not only are these young people who probably, folks would say, I always joke and say when we found them, they couldn't spell IT. They're now, becoming some of our great security people, project managers, scrum masters, developers, you name it. They're doing well at it and are succeeding at it. And now we've added, of course, all of the as I think you put it, which I love that term, was the additional training that you wrap around the on the job learning. We've added those components as well, and they're continuing to succeed in that college education as well. And so we're really excited about what we've done and the outcomes that our young people who are just so resilient and just showing us all every day that, that we made the right choice. And so now moving forward, what we have learned as an employer is that there is a vast pool of potential additional resources out there that we no longer now will not consider as part of that initial opportunity to go after from a talent perspective. And so the sky's the limit, and we're excited about where we are and where we're going. And certainly we appreciate, all of you guys as great partners, because none of this happens without all of us working together, making this happen, including our young people. As I always remind them, as successful as the program might become or might be, it's all because of the work that they do every day, not what we do.
Absolutely. I don't know, Duana, if we have a minute, I would love to hear from Justin. Justin, if you wouldn't mind sharing just a little bit, I know this is a little bit more broad than maybe our specific discussion has been around apprenticeship, but just the value that you understand diversity brings to a company. Obviously, we've talked about that apprenticeship enables, by virtue of having a structured training plan in place, employers are able to, from the beginning, cast a wider net for potential workers, because they don't need those workers to necessarily have every single box checked before they bring them on. And so I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit to, just in broad terms, the additional benefits and that having a more diverse workforce represents for an employer.
Yeah, no, I of course I could do that. Thank you, Katie. So I would say, there are so many values, right, to having a diverse workforce. Everybody has a unique experience, and as Monty was describing, right, everybody, has not only a unique experience, but unique qualifications, right? We all have different experiences in life, and part of what makes our supplier diversity program, I think, so exceptional, so great, is we find a way to leverage the best of all those diverse suppliers and of all those diverse experiences that all these folks have. And I know right now we're focused on obviously cybersecurity, and that's incredibly important, right? It's the way of the future. And as Monty went into, young folks, I hope I can include myself in that, but we are pioneering the way forward there and a part of the solution there. And I will say, touching on, in addition to what you said, Katie, about what is the value? I'd say it's also creating that, and I think we touched on this quite a bit, that internal talent pipeline, right? And it's really putting forth that, that building relationships with partners, right? We're in these communities, all of the communities we operate in are diverse by nature. And, our Medicaid membership is incredibly diverse. So having businesses that, align with the diversity that Anthem we promote, and that, are in our communities that we live and operate in. You know, having that diversity is incredibly important to us. And frankly, it's important to our suppliers as well. If you don't have folks that have had all these unique experiences from these diverse backgrounds, how do you truly connect with individuals, right? Yeah, you can obviously connect, and we all connect, but it's much easier for them to, and it's much more seamless. So I think we find there's so many different angles to pull this from that as to why diversity is important in the workforce.
Yeah, and if I was to add to the experience on the question as well, I think that there's just some uniqueness that individuals, various cultures, various races, genders bring to the table. The perspectives are not all the same. And I think as you look, especially as an employer, as you look at your customer, who certainly is not, one thing or one individual, one entity, it's important to not only reflect what your customer potentially looks like as well, but to have a better and deeper understanding of their needs, your unique needs, especially now as we live in this more disconnected world that we live in. It's more important to connect by understanding individually how to connect more effectively. Before it was easier because we can kind of mix together in a single place, if you will, and then kind of be generic about what we do. Now, because of the remoteness and the disconnection that the pandemic has kind of put us all in, it's much more important, I think, that you have to really understand the unique things that drives a individual culture, group of people, that sort of thing. The last thing I'll just say is, recently I heard that a lot of organizations are being challenged by finding talent. And we've gone to these virtual career fairs, as one of the ways to do that. But we're finding in many cases, when I'm hearing from employers, that they're not as successful as we all thought they might have been. There's not the turnout necessarily that everybody was looking for. And I believe part of the reason for that turnout is the very thing we're talking about here with this issue of diversity. It's because we don't understand specifically how to connect to that uniqueness of that talent pool that we're trying to seek. We're trying to cast a wide net on something that really requires us to be more specifically targeted to. And so what happens is you don't hear anyone speaking directly to you when you have these generic virtual fairs, I believe. And as a result of that, I think we're going to find ourselves having to kind of turn the tables a little bit and get more specific about who we're targeting, what the messaging is to that individual. If, for example, I'm someone who is middle management and you're trying to target to me, then you can't invite me to a entry level virtual, fair. And so that's just one example of what I see out there. And so I think this whole idea of diversity, inclusion, and being more specific is becoming more and more important to how we not only source talent and attract talent, but we'll also maintain talent.
That's awesome. And thank you, Katie, for bringing up that and for having Justin and Monty to really elaborate and expound. I know that it'll be very informative for our listening audience. So thank you all. And thank you, Katie, for bringing that up. And thank you, Justin and Monty, for just joining in on this nationwide celebration and bringing such value to this stream. Thank you
Thank
both.
you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All righty. So at this time, we are going to go ahead and transition to our business segment. We have a few more guests as we continue on this national stage. All right, Katie, I feel like I want to do a drum roll. I'm telling you, we're going to go ahead and go to our businesses and employers and continue this national celebration in our final segment for today. Are you ready, Katie? Are you ready?
Oh, yes. This time is flying by, so I'm so grateful.
I know it's been an amazing time. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring on our next guest from Michigan. And I have to give a fun fact. A fun fact, this young lady and I actually went to school together in Detroit, Michigan, both middle and high school, before we went our separate ways to different colleges. But I have to tell you, we've been in touch over the last decades and years. And I will tell you, it's been amazing to watch her career soar. So Dr. Karen Reynolds is who I'm speaking of. She hails from Detroit, Michigan, was a standout student, and I can witness that at our high school Cass Tech. And her quest for excellence did not stop there. She felt a greater sense of purpose. In the years that followed, she became a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. She went on to earn her DHA, Doctor of Health Administration, MBA, Executive, BSM, Bachelor of Science in Management, and certified professional coder and life and health insurance producer. Wow, you're in the right place today. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, federally Facility Marketplace, and HIPAA certified. Hard work is no stranger to Karen. And I tell you, Dr. Reynolds give her grandfather, Benjamin Ferris Green, and her father, John, credit for this work ethic. Her strong work ethic. Oh, I'm having a tongue twister. Her strong work ethic paled in comparison to her dedication to her community. And you can read the rest of her profile on LinkedIn. Look her up. Dr. Karen Reynolds. Come on, we're giving you a warm virtual round of applause, thunderous applause for you. How are you doing today, Dr. Karen?
Hello, I'm doing so well today. I'm so happy to be here. I've been watching, I've been really enjoying the broadcast.
Oh, that is amazing. I'm going to have you hang out for a second because this is our last segment. I'm going to go ahead and keep you on the screen as we prepare to bring on our next guest so that we can have this finale today. So don't go anywhere. We're going to bring on our next guest, which is a dear friend as well, Carrie Lou Zalchang, but we call her Carrie. And she's with the Las Vegas Realty team, educated on the East Coast, a graduate MBA program at Rutgers University with 13 years of experience in real estate transactions. Owner of the Las Vegas Realty team, additional 8 years of work experience as an engineer with Metra Consulting and a financial consultant for Johnson McLean Company. She worked for AT&T, Deutsche Bank, financial manager at Prudential Financial, responsible for financial budgeting, and the list goes on and on. She's an amazing rock star. And I have to say, she has been actually a fan and supporter of Nevada Help Desk, even when it was just an invisible idea on the inside. And so she goes way back, a very dear friend of ours. And I tell you, I'm sending virtual hugs to you both. Carrie Lou, hey, good to see you.
Hi, Dwana. Good to see you. I'm so excited.
All right. We're excited to have you. And last but certainly not least, we have two more quick introductions that we're going to bring on, two more dear friends and colleagues. We have Myra Peterson Love, a mutual friend of ours, co-founder and director of marketing and technology for Laram Design, known in Laram Design as the creative nerd. Myra was caught between the right brain and the left brain most of her life. Myra is a tech-savvy creative with over 30 years in marketing and selling enterprise software to Fortune 100 companies, and is executing development and design services for corporate and entertainment clients. Myra's passion lie in the intersection of technology, art, and entertainment. She has a knack for executing campaigns that are both technically and visually impressive. And so Laram Design was established in 2006 as a full-service branding agency. More details about Myra can be found on her LinkedIn profile as well. Myra Peterson Love of Laram Design, another good friend. I tell you, we can't go to lunch without me just laughing the entire time. So good to have you, Myra.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Myra.
You all are looking so beautiful. And we have one more gentleman to balance out all this women power on the line right now in social media. We got a man that he can stand alone in this segment. I tell you, I call him Mr. Cybersecurity. He is with Sapphire Innovative Solutions. Now, Sapphire Blue provides system engineering and integration solutions to rapidly deploy advanced technologies into the Department of Defense areas of influence and solve complex challenges. Sapphire, its research partners have studied cybersecurity challenges on a global scale since 1997. In that year, they participated in Eligible Receiver 97 exercise, also known as the birthplace of cybersecurity. So these frameworks, and it's a whole lot of jargon that is on his LinkedIn profile that I am going to direct everyone to Mr. Cybersecurity's LinkedIn. Just look up Mr. Cybersecurity on LinkedIn. No, I'm just kidding. Just look up Reggie Richardson on LinkedIn and you will find his entire bio. And this is not on his LinkedIn, but one of the reasons I call him Mr. Cybersecurity is he went on a trade mission with our governor, and I want to say our former governor, to Poland or one of those countries over there. And I tell you, he and I both have a background in Department of Defense and energy, and I go to him for all resources with cybersecurity, any knowledge. He mentors our students that are going for their certifications, and I could go on and on and on and on. I don't have enough time in this broadcast to tell you about Mr. Cybersecurity, so I'm going to pause and bring him onto the scene. Mr. Reggie Richardson. Hello, family. Woo! All righty. So this is our last Power Pack segment for today's National Apprenticeship segment for as we celebrate National Apprenticeship Week. And so we're going to, in this segment, talk about this being a small business, an entrepreneur, from an employer and a small business. This is an opportunity to ask questions. We want to debunk myths. We want you to interact, engage in the next 15, 20 minutes or so. We want to have a dialogue with your businesses so that you can hopefully inspire other businesses and encourage them so they can see you as examples. I'm not going to put anybody on blast. I'll let you say for yourself, those who shared with me offline that you plan to sign up today. And so I'll let you make your own announcement that you're going to be signing up. So without further ado, whoever wants to jump in, now you have the floor for our business segment.
Yes. Well, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Being a small business. Now, my business is a patient advocacy and consulting company. So we changed the way people advocate for themselves in healthcare to promote the health equity, civility, inclusion, and feeling well served. So, me having a small business and being a new small business, technology is so important to my business being on a virtual platform. And because I believe in advocacy, and this apprentice program is definitely a tool for advocacy for these young people. It teaches them a sense of value and their worth. And it also will diversify the workforce in a very needed industry and for businesses like mine. My concern is that being a small business, what are some resources that are available to my business to help have these apprentices on the payroll, and what tax incentives can my company get being a small business? Because I definitely want to support, and I plan on signing up today to support.
It's a great question. And first of all, congratulations for the work that I know it takes to get your own program, your own organization launched. And the work that you're doing is extremely important. That is and patient advocacy is an extremely important field. You know, I'm really glad that you raised this question because, you know, I live in reality, and the reality for employers is you have assets and you have liabilities, and you've got to figure out where to invest the assets that you have to build a stronger organization. And a big part of that is also figuring out what other assets are out there that you could tap into. When it comes to apprenticeship, there are a significant number of resources out there. If you work with a local workforce program, for example, they, under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, WIOA, they're able to help offset costs on two sides of the coin. So we talked about there are two large components of an apprenticeship program. There's that structured, paid on-the-job training, which is an employer's opportunity to build their workforce exactly the way they want. And then there's also this related instruction, which is approximately 144 hours of training directly related to an apprentice's occupation. Under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, local workforce boards can actually help provide resources to offset both of those costs. Depending on what type of training that you select, a workforce board may be able to offset some or a large part or even potentially all of the training costs for that related instruction. In addition, through something called on-the-job training contracts, that workforce board may be able to reimburse you for up to 50 or even potentially 75% of an apprentice's wages. So that's something within the workforce system. And that's because registered apprenticeship is recognized as a highly valuable training program, job training program, because it gets that apprentice paid work experience. It gets them at least one national credential. And it's in an occupational area that is typically high growth and high demand. In addition to workforce support, companies and organizations can also qualify for, very frequently can qualify for state, local, and federal tax credits. There's the workforce opportunity tax credit. There's several tax credits that you can apply for and are eligible for by virtue of who you bring on into your program. In addition, increasingly states are offering either direct funding and or state tax credits to support organizations that are utilizing apprenticeship. So it's a great question. I'm excited to say that I don't know if folks follow Capitol Hill too closely, but the House of Representatives today did pass the Build Back Better social policy bill. They're sending it over to the Senate. The reason that I mention that is because there is an enormous amount of investment in apprenticeship in that bill. And so I think what you're going to see going forward over the next 2, 5, 10, 20 years, because quite frankly, and fortunately, it is a positively bipartisan issue, you're going to see the snowballing effect of resources at the federal and state level to support employers that are using apprenticeship. Great question.
Thank you. There's a lot of resources. I really appreciate that answer.
Absolutely.
All right, anyone else want to chime in from our business segment? And I love that you all are asking questions because our virtual audience get to learn and glean from those questions. And I just want to interject that Mr. Ken Evans mentioned earlier in the comment that businesses basically want to, they may wonder if there's funds available to augment the pay. And I believe Katie just addressed that question. So I just wanted to make a note there. So any businesses that would like to, you have the floor now to speak in our virtual audience. Reggie.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for being on. And I'm excited to be recognized and have our program recognized nationally for our cybersecurity. Thank you for the Katie, for the information, because I was going to ask that, because in order to be a successful apprenticeship company, I think you need 3 things. You need that overhead capital to help cover some of the cost of salary. You need additionally infrastructure to help train the apprentice, and also lastly, and more importantly, the willingness to do so. That's really important. So from our perspective, what we're trying to do is hit it from 3 different areas, because cybersecurity has so many different facets to it. We're looking at the Department of Defense is coming up with something called the Cybersecurity Maturity Model, which is a compliance standard for defense industrial-based companies, because they need a standard in place. They're looking at over 300,000 companies that will be affected by this. This creates a new industry in cybersecurity for compliance. We were one of the first 20 companies to sign up for it. We've been involved in it for 2 years. We're waiting to get our final approval so we can start gathering customers and then start bringing in, based on our apprenticeship program, kids and apprentices with certain skill sets as a baseline. Then we're going to take them that last mile and give them that hands-on, customer-facing ability to do assessments in cybersecurity and get that going. That's huge. Another one we're looking at, and I just had a conversation with our commanders, and they were just positive about it. They say, I want to bring an apprentice on to help out on the work floor. And they said, well, we need help because there's some shortages in the defense. And their concern was security clearances. I says, I can clear that hurdle. We have infrastructure to clear that hurdle. So we're looking at bringing them on to do that. And as a matter of fact, part of the conversation we had, I think, day before yesterday, I says, once these guys demonstrate their worth, if the government decides this is something that needs to be permanent, I think they've earned the right for their job. So now we slowly transition them into a job, a very high-paying job in cybersecurity, and they stay with the company. Lastly, I know I was talking to the one in the help desk. We were selected because of our work in cybersecurity and R&D. We were selected to a finite group of companies to help develop cybersecurity, offensive and defensive tools. And I think that's been pushed off into January. Where under this model, we submitted a model called a technology transfer model. And this technology transfer models takes advantage of the commercial world and commercial talent that does not have clearances. And what we do is we work on them to develop widgets. And we take the widget and we do the integration and the testing of it to make sure it fits the needs in a classified environment. And if it needs tweaking, I'll come back out and I'll say, make widget 1.0, give me widget 2.0, make these changes. This way we can rapidly develop and fill the need for the Defense Department without, worrying about giving up national secrets. It's developed commercially. It is given to our company, and we'll work to integrate it and give it out to a customer. So these are 3 things we're looking at for apprentices. I mean, it's perfect. So these are the things we're trying to line up for that. And we're mostly defense and federal focused. And with the CMMC, it's growing into the federal markets. I've seen it in the healthcare market. I just noticed that because one of my employees got hired away to a major healthcare to do that. And he said we were using this. I says, So this is really growing, really big, and there is no end to it. So I just want to put that out there, let you know that cybersecurity is here to stay, and we're here to help grow it.
All right. Thank you, Reggie, for those wonderful comments. And I have to say, Reggie's another one that's going national today. So we should use this as celebration, national party day, apprenticeship, national signing day for our employers that will be signing up those Appendix Ds to sign up for national apprenticeship. So are there any other questions or comments from our businesses that we haven't heard from today? Any comments or questions as we prepare to wrap up? And Carrie? Yeah.
Yes, I have a question and maybe also a comment. I was just curious if Katie or Duena, if you guys are considering connecting with national networking groups. I am part of a Business Network International group, and we are locally, in Las Vegas with 13 chapters and about 300 members strong. And that would probably be a great forum to introduce apprenticeship to this group of individuals who can then help to spread the word to the community. So that's one of the areas I was looking at connecting. And then the other part was our Clark County School has various partnerships with payback speakers. And that's another volunteering program where businesses go to different schools here to keep the kids in school. And we go to different schools throughout the month to share with them what business people are doing and how we achieve where we are today, and it's okay to change your major, from day one to the nth year. It doesn't matter as long as you're encouraged to stay in school, so that we have partnerships with businesses that way. I just wanted to see if you guys are planning to do more of those networking activities to help bring more businesses in.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie, for that. That's a wonderful addition and suggestion. And I'd love to tag along with you to some of those networking events, that to continue to create awareness. If they allow us to share on a public platform, we, of course, will take you up on that one. We, of course, is similar to the Asian Chamber of Commerce that we were just at a couple of weeks ago, where they had that towards the end, announcements for businesses and all of that. If we have an opportunity to share and to speak, whosoever will, let them hear the voice, the sound of our voice. And we welcome all employers, all businesses of all sizes, to really welcome and embrace an apprentice. And we're here to help guide you through that process. So absolutely. And thank you, Carrie, for that feedback. And we'll certainly take you up on that. Hi, Myra. Okay, so Myra has something to say now. We're going to transition to Myra. Yes, Myra.
Just real briefly is that, we've celebrated our 15-year business last summer. And as you know, we deal with international clients. Even though we're based here in Las Vegas, the majority of our clients are outside of Las Vegas. We kind of fell into that. As we didn't truly market ourselves as an international company, but we kind of fell into that. When we set up our bases, one of the challenges I had for the team was, we were in New York City before, and we had, hundreds of people working with us. And I wanted to be, not have the geographical boundaries. So I started picking up people from different places and said, hey, we can run our business on Skype. This was back in 2005. So we had the challenge of educating people that we were a distributed company when that wasn't cool, right? People wanted to know, how do you get your work done? Well, you hire senior people, okay, that are self-motivated, that are accomplished, and you work together as a team. So the challenge to hire on interns or apprentices in this environment was not easy. We had established systems. We had established who our client base was, what our services were. And now that we've done that, we feel like we're in a position now to be able to bring on apprentices. And I have to say, having worked with Nevada Help Desk and being part of the training programs for the young people that are highly talented in the areas that we need, whether that's SEO, whether that's design or web development for some of our clients, we're finding that, working with apprentices is actually quite a good thing for us. And that now that the world, due to the pandemic, the world has accepted that we can do business via Skype, Zoom, Loom, whatever system that it is, depending on where they are in the world, that we've set up systems to be able to manage people and train people in a distributed environment. So it doesn't matter if my people are in New York or New Mexico or California or the UK or Taiwan or Russia. We try to attract the best. And in that, we've been able to learn how to train people, how to set schedules. You probably can't see all the clocks we have up here because we can't remember the times, right? So we're like, what time is it? Oh, yeah. Okay, I can call. And so it's right now we're in a position to welcome in apprentices. And I guess the question I have is, are there models that we can work with existing models to help us to quickly ramp up our program?
Yeah, and first of all, again, congratulations. I never cease to be impressed with the work that people do to build their own organizations and to expand and to really build out their workforce.
Mm-hmm.
The short answer to your question is yes. That's actually one of our roles as an industry intermediary, is to make those types of models, those existing models, scalable. And we exist as an intermediary. All of our services are paid for by the Department of Labor. So I tell people that we are your tax dollars coming back to work for you.
That's wonderful.
And the entire point of our work is to find out what it is that an employer needs for their workforce. And then we're able to pull from the vast number of programs that are out there that have been successful, and or to build a brand new program from the ground up. But yes, there are models out there for folks that have 100% remote workforces, for folks that have hybrid workforces, and folks that have in-person workforces. One of the things that I love about apprenticeship is that there was already the moved forward, recognizing that related instruction component and even that on-the-job component was going to need to be able to move to online delivery, especially for certain occupations in certain sectors. And that was happening pre-COVID. So when COVID hit, there were a number of programs like what you just heard from Monty and Anthem, that they were able to keep their apprenticeship program going throughout the pandemic. They didn't have to take anyone offline. So yes, there are models out there, and our job is to help make this part of your job as easy as possible.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to that, because that's key. You know, why reinvent the wheel? That's one of the things we always say.
You don't have time for it.
No time whatsoever, you know. I'd rather put the time into the students so we can start delivering for our clients, right? So
absolutely.
That is so awesome. And I failed to mention, like Carrie, Myra was there from the beginning with Nevada Help Desk when it was just an invisible idea. We bounced around as sisters at lunchtime. So I love it. And I love that we're all engaged for this wonderful National Apprenticeship Week celebration. We're going to prepare to wrap up in just a few minutes. And so I want to I know we're just a few minutes over, but I want to just have any final takeaways, any final questions as we prepare to wrap up. And as we prepare to unmute your mic, I want to make sure that our listening audience know that signing up is very easy. All you have to do is on the link that I just posted in the chat, click on that Airtable. You will automatically be referred to what we call Appendix D, which is a sign-up form with SAFAL Partners, which is who you're hearing from today, Katie. You can literally sign up today. If you're not ready to hire an apprentice tomorrow, we understand that. But if you're hiring one in the near future, as we kind of hold your hand and walk you through that process on how to become engaged, that form that you're signing today is an interest and inquiry form. And once you're ready, you would sign that Appendix D to let us know, hey, I am ready to start with an apprentice, and I'm ready to get engaged on a national level with SAFAL Partners as a National Department of Labor intermediary. We've made it so easy breezy that literally sign the Airtable today. You have your Appendix D, read it. It's like one paragraph on that page. It's so simple. It took me 5 minutes to sign up, and instantly I was national with the National Department of Labor intermediary. So it takes less than 5 minutes or 2 minutes if you're a quick reader, and it's that easy. So any final comments from any of our panelists today? We'll give you the extra minute since you've been so patient today as our grand finale with the business segment. Everybody take 30 seconds to a minute as we wrap up.
Well, I just want to say that I believe in the value of this program. As an advocate, even though we concentrate on health, all aspects of advocacy are important, and helping young people realize sooner to give them the control in their lives to learn these new skills in non-traditional ways, but important, solid, expert ways. I am so happy that you have this program and to be a part of it.
Yeah, I wanted to add on to, Duana knows I'm big into STEM. And what the apprenticeship program is, it is the pointy end of STEM. STEM starts, K through 12. But the ultimate goal of STEM is to get people employed, entrepreneurs, whatever, into a craft that's going to make this nation stronger. So this is the end result. We're the end of all that STEM training, all that college education. We are the end of that. So just it's a really, really important thing that we're doing, I think.
Whoever wants to chime in next, Carrie or Myra. And your lines are unmuted. I've just left them unmuted since we're wrapping up.
I will say this, when I finished college, I had the fortune of throughout college, I had the fortune of every summer working for Hewlett Packard. And it made a huge difference when I came out. I was working as a professional in the summers, but and I had an offer from them in my junior year for when I graduated. So it made a difference when I came out because I was able to immediately participate in the workforce in a meaningful way. And I look to this apprentice program as being very similar, whether that's the people stay with us or they move on to other companies, depends on, what their ultimate goals are. But I'm hoping that we make a meaningful difference in people's lives as my life has changed.
And I like to share that even in my industry, people think that in real estate, we're only selling houses and helping families move into them. But behind the scene, we have a lot of technology that's involved, including lead capturing, helping clients on the internet with resources. And even as members of the National Association of Realtors, we are almost 1.5 million members strong. And I'm sure that the apprenticeship program can be in states as well, and be able to apply, to our daily lives. So I'm definitely an advocate of the apprenticeship program. So I'm looking forward to signing up.
Thank you. And before we let Katie have the last words as the featured guest, I just want to say thank you to all my sheroes, plus Reggie, Mr. Cybersecurity, for closing out this segment. And I have to, before Katie speaks, just say what a phenomenal resource SAFAL partners have been to us, and a partner and my gosh, I cannot even express the amount of support that has been given to Nevada Help Desk just this past year to just really help us grow and expand. And just this week, as a matter of fact, we became a registered apprenticeship program in our state of Nevada for our digital marketing apprenticeship program. And that could not have happened. I just got to say it, since we have a national audience, that could not have happened without the support and resources from SAFAL partners. And I want to give a love and shout out to Emily of Anthem also for connecting and making the dots and all of this happening behind the scenes with Emily Davidson. I know she's not here with us today. She's here in spirit, and I guarantee you she's going to watch this broadcast. But all of the amazing partners and connections of this apprenticeship journey when we started, out as just not knowing anything and everything. I jokingly told Katie last week, I was like, Katie, everything I know about apprenticeship came from you guys. So I'm just excited to be an advocate and a bullhorn, if you will, to sound the alarm for every business I know. You have to sign up using that Airtable link, get involved, join this national intermediary team as an apprenticeship program for your business as an employer, and let's make a difference in our entire nation. Katie?
Well, Dwana, you couldn't have put it any better. This has been, I can't believe how quickly our time has gone this afternoon. And yet I can believe it, because when it comes to the topic of workforce development and creating really effective career pathways for people and putting people back on the road to jobs that pay good salaries, that have promising futures, when you've got engaged employers like you brought around here today, the time does go quickly. And what I would like to end on is the type of discussion that we've been having today is really what the Department of Labor is hoping to see and is resourcing and wants to see happening nationwide. We as a national industry intermediary to establish and expand cybersecurity and tech apprenticeship programs. We're joined by other intermediaries that support additional sectors such as transportation, distribution, logistics, healthcare, clinical positions, energy and utilities. And so we really want to serve as both a national program sponsor for companies that would like, and organizations, public or private, that would like to enjoy the benefits of apprenticeship to build their tech workforce. But we also would like to help folks who are interested in connecting with additional resources for apprenticeship programs in occupations, perhaps non-tech occupations. I really hope that employers today walk away with understanding that apprenticeship is the most well-proven model for building a skilled workforce. It has literally been demonstrated over thousands of years. People have been learning intentionally from people who are professionals in their business. And so at SAFAL Partners, we are thrilled to be partnering with Nevada Help Desk. Nevada Help Desk is our partner in delivering technical assistance and program support. Through this program, we would love the opportunity to make apprenticeship possible for any organization that's interested. We take on the program responsibilities for sponsorship and administration so that you as an employer can focus on what you do best, which is building up your workforce to do the work that is meaningful and profitable for you.
All right. I think that's a good spot to say amen right there. And I have to say, if there was an award to give the most engaged comments, I have to say Aletta, who all of this, I wouldn't even know Emily without her. I have to give some love and shout out to Aletta, who's been our most engaged participant on today's broadcast and a strong supporter, advocate, a gentle giant, and a quiet storm behind the scene that is making things happen. So I want to give some love and shout out to Aletta, who was the initial connector in all of this and our most engaged today. So love and shout out, and thank you all. Thank you so much. And we are prepared to say goodbye. Last, final, how to convert. Click the Airtable link that's in your comment. Both SAFAL Partners and Nevada Help Desk will share that data. We will follow up instantly on how you can become involved. If you know you're going to start an apprenticeship, please sign it today. We don't know you're interested unless you fill out the form today, so we can guide you through that process. Thank you for our audience. You have been great. Any comments or questions that we didn't get to respond to, we promise we will post it on social media, the answer to all your questions, so that you can be fully engaged and informed. Thank you all. I am signing off for each and every one of you. And I don't know, should we give our like royal wave or like our royal wave as we prepare to sign off today? Thank you all for engaging. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna.
And happy National Apprenticeship Week. All righty.